Hi, my name is Molly Reed, and I'm the library assistant here at the Calico Curriculum Materials Center. The Calico Center is located in the Education Building on the University of Maine at Farmington campus. The Calico Center has been open since January of 2007, and our mission here is to provide pre-service and in-service educators with items to field test in their classrooms. We have over 7,000 books in our collection, ranging from board books and toy books right up through young adult books, both fiction and nonfiction. We also have over 700 assistive technology items in the center, and now we have a couple of assistive technology student specialists who are going to give you a tour of some of the items that we have available.
Hello, welcome.
Hi.
What's your name?
I'm Holly.
Hi, Holly. I'm Kelly Johnson. Nice to meet you.
Oh, it's nice to meet you. Can you tell me a little about this place?
Yes, this is the Theodore Calico Curriculum Materials Center. I'm one of the assistive technology specialists here. Are you really just looking to learn more about assistive technology?
Yeah, I've heard a lot about the Calico Center in the community, and I was curious.
Okay, wonderful. Let me show you right over here. This is where our center sort of starts. These are movement-related items. There are a variety of items that we have for a variety of different levels of students, and also for different children and people with disabilities. There's a lot of materials for people with high or low muscle tone, or just generally movement-related items to help kids really get active in education.
That's great.
Some of the materials we have here is like, this is a stretchy band, and if you hold one side and I'll hold the other side, this is something that you could really get kids involved with and playing with and doing stretching and exercises, particularly kids that need that little extra help to stretch. An adult could be on one side, they could be on the other, and they could be leaning and stretching and leaning back, and you could try to get a bunch of different kids in there and make shapes, all sorts of different things. So
that's great.
We have a science section right here. We have a microscope, different color discovery tubes where you mix up the colors and they separate and kids can talk about the mixing of colors. Different games related to the topics of body and nutrition, the senses. We have Montessori items throughout the center in a bunch of different areas. We did a special project where we wrote up descriptions of the Montessori items and some activity ideas. So if people are really looking to explore with them on a really informal level, there are a lot of materials here for them. Moving on, we have a whole area of different software available and movies, binders, where people that are really looking for some information on specific disabilities or practices in teaching children with disabilities. It's a great place for someone looking to get some information on a particular disability before they might have a student with that disability in their classroom, or before they're going to an IEP and addressing that certain disability category. There's also some positioning items we have here for students with disabilities, particularly physical disabilities. We also have a variety of literacy materials that start here and go all the way down to our computers. If you come this way, I can show you some more of our materials. We have a lot of flannel boards that are available. We also have a lot of flannel board packets where students can get, students being student teachers, practicum students, or professionals could take out a packet with the book and go through a book with the child and do it on the flannel board. In the center we have some ideas on flannel board teaching, how to do it, some approaches. Holly, there are also some infant toddler materials I'd like to show you. This material is used primarily with infants and toddlers, although it can also be used for children or students with significant cognitive disabilities to teach cause and effect. You know, the student looks at the material, they push the button, and something happens.
And what's this right here? I noticed that they're all the same size. When I was little, I had one that were all different sizes.
Right. The ones that are different sizes is talking more about seriation and how things go from large to small and the way that you stack things. These are really made more for infants and toddlers. If you notice, each different tier has a different texture, which is really something that speaks to their very tactile way of learning. Also, because they're all the same size, these different rings can go on in any different order. We also have a lot of computer materials, alternative keyboards, alternative input materials that would really help a student that can't necessarily use a typical keyboard still interact with the computer and technology. We have two main computers that we do a lot of assistive technology on. We have a PC and we have a Mac. Each one has their own binder with specific directions on universal design and technology that are already on these computers.
Wonderful.
A person could come in and use the binder and go through each section. There's a table of contents. It's really a workable manual that have been made by assistive technology specialists that have worked in the center. Moving down, we also have a lot of therapy dolls and puppets in a puppet theater for children that need that extra help to communicate or that have.
How is this doll different from other dolls?
Well, this doll has different faces. He has a sad face and an angry face and a worried face. And these are for children that might have a limited ability as far as communicating. They could use a doll like this. They could use puppets if they're looking for a more indirect way of communicating. We have a variety of switches. If you look at the different tops of these bookcases, a lot of these materials that we have here are called switches, where a child would use a material like this, which is a jelly bean switch. They would push the button and this material doesn't have batteries in it, but in which case it did, the koalas would go right up and shoot down.
I bet that would be really self-esteem boosting for someone who struggled with fine motor skills.
Most definitely, or any motor skills really. Moving along in the center, additional switches that we have. Some of them don't need batteries at all. Some of them are just motivated by the button alone. This material is really helpful for using with children who either don't have a lot of gross motor, can't walk, or maybe for a child with cerebral palsy, or even just for a student who has a temporary issue, like I knew it was used once for a student with a broken leg, a little guy that really, he had a cast, he couldn't move around, so they used this to help him still be incorporated into the field trips and other things they were doing. It's sort of a little all-terrain mini wheelchair or gross motor device.
Yeah, I could definitely see kids wanting to trade off with the child who actually needed it.
Yeah, definitely. Holly, also we have a really cool section of life skills stuff that is really interactive and very age appropriate for a variety of ages and developmental levels. Some of the things I'd really like to point out to you are the survival signs bingo game, which really helps students, especially secondary and middle levels of students. We also have, these are called hand doves, and they look like a little dove. They're made out of frosted glass. And you hold them just like this. They're for children or students with low muscle tone or even high muscle tone that are looking to work on writing, but they need to use that gross motor because they don't have the fine motor for their fingers. They hold the dove just like this, and they can write using more function of their arm and wrist instead of really working on that pincer grip with the fingers. We also have, and a lot of teachers find this very interesting and fun, a timer. And this timer is actually made to show the students how much time is left in a more practical way. We also have a lot of Braille materials and American Sign Language materials. We have assistive technology materials like this pair of scissors for students that can't hold and cut with scissors. They could put a piece of paper right in here, and they could use their whole hand or a different part of their arm. It could be even for students that don't have all of their fingers needed to cut, or like I said,
hand.
yeah, or their hand.